All set? Thanks, Megan. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you to the City of Burlingame residents for joining us who are with us this afternoon. We're really glad you did. Before we get started, we have to all acknowledge these are remarkable times that we are living through right now, but we are a strong, resilient community. We are a strong county, and we will certainly get through this together. Before we get started, I wanted to welcome all of you on behalf of the entire City Council and acknowledge my colleagues that are with us as well. We have Council members Donna Colson, Ricardo Ortiz, Michael Brownrigg. We have Vice Mayor Ann O'Brien Keegren, and I am Emily Beach, your current mayor here in Burlingame. We'll also introduce our wonderful city staff momentarily. But before we do, really the reason we wanted to set this up is to have an opportunity when we all feel disconnected to connect in some way. And our goal tonight is really to listen, to learn from you what your concerns are, to answer what questions we can. If we don't have answers to questions, we'll take a note, and as we coordinate with the county, we'll try to get those answers and publish them in our Burlingame e-news or on our website and get you the information you need. As matters of council policy, we are all ears and we will all be listening tonight, but we will refrain from deliberating on any matters of council policy. We leave those for our city council meeting. This is really your night to ask us questions and provide the answers that you need. So before I turn it over to our city clerk and introduce our city manager, who's really going to take charge of this meeting tonight, just want to mention 3 things you can do to help us make this meeting go even more smoothly. Number 1, if you can help us get to your questions succinctly, the more succinct you can be in your questions, the more questions we'll have time to answer. We're going to go for about an hour tonight. So thank you for putting the bottom line up front. Number 2, if somebody else had a similar comment or a similar question, feel free to email us or message in the application, or feel free to say, hey, I agree with the last person, but again, the more succinct we can be, the more we can move on to more questions. And then finally, number 3, thank you for being respectful. Burlingame is an incredibly respectful and wonderful community. We know that we'll comport ourselves that way tonight on the town hall. Remember, this is being recorded. It will be posted online, so anything you wouldn't want your kids or your neighbors or your mom to see, we just keep that in mind as we have a very productive conversation tonight. So this is really your opportunity to have a direct line to our incredibly talented city staff who's in close coordination with the county on all these matters of public health and of social services. And with that, I will turn it over to our city clerk right now, who will help give you sort of the rules of the road on this new medium called Zoom conferencing. Thank you, Megan.
Hi, everyone. This is our first time using this for the big town hall, so please bear with us as we try to figure this out. I am admitting people as they show up in the waiting room as well. I just wanted to go over how you can ask questions during this meeting. So I have you all on mute, and if you figure out a way to take yourself off mute, please keep yourself on mute so that we can record this properly. So a couple ways you can ask questions. You can email in to public comment at burlingame.org. So that's public comment at burlingame.org. The other way, during this meeting, you should have a button on the bottom of your screen that either says manage participants, or more after the participants. And that'll allow you to raise your hand. It'll give you that option. Please don't all do that at once right now, but that will alert me that you have a question that you would like to ask. The other option you have for asking questions, if you have the screen, is that you can chat. You can send me a direct chat. I'm the only one right now that you can chat with on your screen. So that again is going to be a button at the bottom. If you are calling in, if you hit *9 on your phone, it'll raise your hand, and that's what I'll see on the corner. And I'm going to try to do the best I can to sort through your comments and questions, but we have 157 participants right now, so it might take me some time, so please bear with me.
Thank you. All right, with that, I'd like to turn it over to our city manager who is running the show, and she can introduce you to her staff team. We did hope to have a county health official with us this afternoon, but they have matters that are pretty urgent. Lisa can fill us in. So unfortunately, I don't think they'll be with us tonight, but Lisa and her staff can answer a lot of questions, and thank you again for being with us.
Great, thank you, Mayor Beach. Hi, everyone, Lisa Goldman. Just before I start, on my screen, I'm using an iPad and my chat feature is in the top right corner. So your screen may look different depending on what device you're on. So just beware, look for where all the controls are. I do have a participants, and then just to the right of it, it says more, and that's where I find the chat and raise my hand function, just so you know how to access it on your device. I'm gonna give you just a few updates, and then we will go to the questions. This is a public health emergency. The council declared a local emergency here last Monday on the 16th. The county did it just a couple days before us. They're in charge. County runs public health, and so they really are the ones who decide what the shelter in place order is, what it means, all the interpretations, but we are trying to help the best we can. So the best source of information is the county's website. It's www.smcgov.org. That is your launching pad for all sorts of great information from the county. A couple of other important websites, of course, the city's website, www.burlingame.org. We have, if you go down to the bottom right corner, you'll see a special box, and you can click on that, and that will take you to all of our information about COVID-19. We are continually updating it. We put new information up almost every day, not quite, as things come out. So go there when you want to know what's going on in the city. We have put up information about restaurants that are open for takeout and delivery. It's really important we support our local businesses during this really tough time for them. So we have a link to the restaurants that we know are open. If we're missing anyone, please let us know. If there's another small business that's open, please let us know. We'll add that. Again, it's burlingame.org. Another really important website that went live last night, and we have good news, is the County of San Mateo this morning. The Board of Supervisors voted to put $3 million into a new fund, and they're also looking for donations. The fund is www.smcstrong.org. So smcstrong.org. They are looking for donations, and they'll be using that money. So $3 million to start, and whatever else they can get from the community. They're looking for big donors and small donors, and they will be providing money to individuals, to nonprofits, and to small businesses. And so the more money that they get in through donations, and we'll all be making our donations individually and as small family units and whatnot, the more they can get in, the more they can give out. So this is really a time when the entire county is trying to come together and help those of us who are struggling. And then if you are a small business needing assistance, the San Mateo County Economic Development Association is really managing all of that. Their website, www.samceda.org, so samceda.org, and they are really the ones who are helping out small businesses. They have a ton of resources. You can find all of those links on our website, but if you want the direct, that's it. A couple of other things. You may all see that things are happening at various Burlingame hotels. That is a good thing. We want our hotels to survive. The county is renting hotel rooms throughout Burlingame and other jurisdictions, and they're using those hotel rooms for first responders who've been exposed, first responders and medical personnel who need somewhere to rest. Maybe they live far away or they have to be back, and don't have a whole lot of time to go home to rest, so they're using it for that. They're using it for people who have been hospitalized with COVID-19, but they don't require hospitalization anymore, but they need somewhere to go. All of those hospitals are staffed, and people are being taken care of in those, not hospitals, hotels. All the hotels are being staffed. It's really great for our hotel community. They are suffering really terribly right now. So having an opportunity to pitch in and to serve is really wonderful. And we welcome all of those folks into our community. We've always been a very welcoming, inclusive community, and we're happy to have them here. With that, we will open it up to questions. So, and let me just introduce my staff who's here. Kathleen Kane, not my staff, we are co-equal partners here. Kathleen Kane is our city attorney. And then the police chief, Mike Matucci, is on. I know a lot of our other department heads are also on, but Kathleen and Mike and I will be fielding most of the questions, and then I may just jump over to some other staff if there's something I can't answer. And then if there's questions that none of us can answer, we will try to get that information and we'll put it out online, whatever we can get. So bear with us. This is a situation that's been evolving constantly. We put out information and 2 hours later it changes because something changes. And so we're all doing our best just to keep everybody as informed as we can with this really crazy, unprecedented situation. So with that, Megan, if you can give us our first person.
This one came through chat. They want to know, sorry, I just have to scroll. They want to know if are local retailers being trained and monitored for adhering to cleaning procedures and policies to ensure their services can be accessed safely.
So I assume we're mostly talking about food, and the county health is in charge of all food safety. They have put out guidelines for how the food purveyors should be serving and dealing with gloves and sanitation and all of that. But again, county health is in charge of licensing all the food retailers. As for other retailers, most of them unfortunately are not open right now. There are a few that are hardware stores are allowed to be open, pharmacies, dry cleaners, grocery stores, of course, a few others that are considered essential businesses. And we've been putting out a lot of information about how to be safe in this really scary time. And hopefully people are taking some personal responsibility there and also making sure that they do what they can to keep their places of business sanitized. At City Hall, we have a very skeleton crew. We are constantly going through and wiping down door handles with sanitary wipes. We are wiping door handles and light switches and desks and everything else we can. So we're doing our best, and hopefully we can all do that in our places of business.
The next ones I have is a comment and then a question. So Mr. Murphy would like us to know the following is just a comment that might be worth sharing. San Mateo County Shelter in Place order has a possible end date of April 7th, but the California state order has no end date. With daily increases of COVID-19 cases of between 15 to 20%, the likelihood of the shelter in place being lifted on April 7th is very low.
Agreed.
I have a question from an O'Donnell. How many hotel rooms have we set aside? How are we assisting the homeless population?
So again, that's all being run through the county. So the county has secured quite a number of rooms in Burlingame. They're also securing hotel and motel rooms elsewhere in the county. They are making a specific lift for homeless individuals, especially those who are out on the streets. They're trying to bring them in and make sure they get housed. It's a lot safer if they can house people and provide them with services and make sure they get, quarantined if they need to be quarantined. Because the shelters are a bit crowded, they've secured some hotel and motel rooms to move people out of the shelters who are doing okay so that they can have more social distancing within the shelters. So they're putting people in a whole variety of places. They're also looking at other places. The Broadway Tennis Center, which is run by the Bay Club now, has offered up their facility. And so it's not ideal. It's not a place that normally has people living there, but it's an opportunity that the county is looking at if they need more overflow housing. There's other warehouse kind of facilities that they're looking at ramping up if they need to make sure that homeless folks are taken care of to the best of all of our ability.
Okay, this next question comes through email. I know the president is considering lifting a lot of restrictions in a few weeks. We don't know what the governor will do, but what can the council do if you feel it is in the public interest to keep in place the current restrictions? Will the county be able to maintain the current health order?
So maybe I'll start on that, and then Mayor Beach, if you want to jump in. So from my understanding, and maybe this is also for our city attorney, the county orders and the state orders are what we follow here in California. I don't believe that the president has the authority to lift those orders for public health. He can make statements in the public realm, and that may not be so helpful if we're operating under different rules and regulations here. Our order originally was going through, as Mr. Murphy noted, through April 7th. I am quite confident that will get extended. There is some difference in the county. So 6 counties in the Bay Area put their orders out on last Monday, went into effect midnight, Monday night, Tuesday morning. The state did an order a few days later. It's changed a bit. There's some differences, and the attorneys are working through which ones we follow for where there are areas of conflict. But essentially, if the president says everybody go out and start shopping and going to crowded restaurants and going to your places of worship, that will not be the case here in California or in this county. We have a responsibility to our populace to keep everybody safe, and the way we do that is by this social distancing, which is not fun. We're all a little lonely. It's lovely to see everybody's faces through this medium, but it's what we have to do to try to get through this. And sounds cliched, but we're really looking at flattening the curve. I just got a note from one of our council members. People were not doing that so much last weekend. Lots of people were going to beaches and parks and things like that and creating crowds. And the beach parking is now shut down as a result. So for state beaches, they've shut down parking. City beaches, they're shutting down parking. They are not allowing people to go. If you can get there by walking or by biking, you're okay, but they want people staying in their neighborhoods. And one of the reasons that they're doing that is when people, for example, go to Half Moon Bay and they go to the beach there and they go to the grocery store there, they are taking food from people in Half Moon Bay who need to be able to access those groceries. And so they want everybody really just staying put, go to your neighborhood stores, stay in your neighborhoods, practice social distancing, and we'll make this whole really difficult situation a whole lot shorter. That's the thinking. I don't know, Mayor Beach, if you wanted to add anything to that.
I think the only thing I would add from the elected calls that we've been on, I know the vice mayor's been on as well. Every indication is that the county is probably going to be updating the shelter-in-place order with additional instructions and additional clarification. And every indication from the governor's briefing is that things are going to be like this for a little while longer than we'd like. And there's going to be, if anything, more clarification coming down the road about how much more we have to restrict ourselves. So err on the side of caution.
And if I could just add quickly one thing, basically whatever the most restrictive applicable part of an order is what applies. So where the county is more strict than the state, the county applies. Where the state and the county are more restrictive than the federal government, then that's what applies to.
Okay, I have some comments coming in through the chat. So Ms. Turner would like us to know that Call Primrose, the food pantry, has taken extra measures for social distancing, and people in need should know that food is available for pickup.
Wonderful.
Mr. Thomas, also thank you, Mr. Thomas, for saying I'm doing a good job.
Yay.
How can individuals help? I'm youngish, healthy, and have not been exposed. There are some neighborhood efforts, for example, the Burlingame Neighborhood Network, but I'd like to know if there's any larger volunteer coordination effort. More specifically, can CERT help?
So that was a great softball question, Mr. Thomas. Thank you. The county is actually organizing volunteers. And so if you go on our website, we have a link. There is a Survey Monkey. You can go in and put all of your information. As of about 1:30 today, they had 1,036 people who had volunteered to help out in the county. There's also, which is great, there's also an email address for nonprofits who are looking for volunteers. So the county is working on that matching of the volunteers and the nonprofits needing help. So we are part of Central County Fire, and Central County Fire is working on how to properly engage our CERT volunteers. And then I know that Mayor Beach, probably other council members have been in touch with Burlingame Neighborhood Network about the best way to activate those groups. We, at this point at the city level, we haven't quite figured out how to deploy our own volunteers. So we are asking people to go to the county and volunteer through that website. And again, if you go to burlingame.org and sift through our information on our COVID-19 page, you can find that. We are constantly sending out email updates through our e-news. So if you haven't signed up for that, please do so. And I saw that my my faithful newsletter editor, Niall, is on this call. And so we'll have Niall add the volunteer information to our next e-news update so that people will have those links right at their fingertips.
Okay, our next question comes from Ms. Nash. She would like to know, could you please give us an overview of how many people have been tested in San Mateo County, what the results have been, how many people have tested positive for COVID-19, how many people have recovered, and how many people have died?
So unfortunately, I don't have that information. So the San Mateo County Health puts out updated numbers every day, usually in the morning. As of 8:54 this morning, they had 161 positive cases and they're reporting 1 death. I have no information about how many tests have been given. There are some that are through public channels. Some tests people are going through their primary care physicians or other health plans and getting testing, and that information is not available to us. So unfortunately, I can't answer any further than smchealth.org has an update of the number of positive cases. And that update it goes up about 20 to 25 every day and has for the past 3 or 4 days.
We're getting a lot of questions along the same topic. Do our local Burlingame hospitals have what they need, ventilators, N95 mask, and what is the number of cases in Burlingame? We just answered that. And then along the same lines, Ms. O'Neill stated, are we aware of any local hospital needs for face masks? I know some are not accepting homemade items. Oops, sorry. You can keep this question anonymous.
So there is definitely, we have not gotten requests ourselves, but we are hearing from people that the local hospitals are really desperately in need of medical supply donations. So they're looking for N95 masks, they're looking for gowns, for gloves, for all sorts of things. There is, again, an email address if you have any of that stuff just in your garage. Apparently Facebook had something like 1 million masks or something crazy like that they just happen to have. So if you have them in your garage and you would like to donate them, there is an email address. I believe it's smcmeddonations@smcgov.org. But we can put that information, it's on our website, and we'll put that out in our next e-news for people who happen to have them. This is one of the reasons that all of the public health experts are asking us all to really hunker down here, as inconvenient as it is because the hospitals are either already overwhelmed or they will be soon. They don't have enough equipment, they don't have enough ventilators, they are struggling. And so the fewer people they have to treat with this, the better off we'll all be. And so that is yet another reason why we really encourage everybody to just stay put, as inconvenient as it is. And believe me, I'm a little stir crazy myself. We all are, but we have to do this for the community. We have to do this for the people who are sick and for the people who are out, the nurses, the doctors, the first responders who are out dealing and will become exposed. We need to make sure that if they do become exposed, that they can get treated. So that's my soapbox.
One thing to add, Lisa, on the masks, there was a conversation today. Some people are sewing masks at home. Appreciate the effort. The county intends to put out some guidance about specifications or details. They don't have that yet, but stand by for more information.
Great. I'm not a sewer, so if it's a good thing and people know how to do that, more power to you.
We have a couple of questions coming in through email. Joe Galligan has stated the IRS and the FTB have allowed 3 extra months to pay our 2019 taxes. Property taxes are due April 10th. What is the county or state doing to allow later payments without penalties and interest?
So the county has put out word that they cannot delay the county property tax payments. So it is true, Mr. Galligan, thanks for your question or your statement. It is true that your state and federal taxes, you can delay them if you need to, but property taxes are still due. I don't know if there's going to be any way for the county to waive penalties or fees for property taxes. That is a question that has to get directed up to the county. And maybe Mayor Beach or one of our other council members has had any conversations about that. But I do know that the county assessor put out guidance saying she did not have the ability to waive those fees, property taxes. One of the reasons is that property tax comes in and it gets distributed to a whole lot of different agencies, including the schools. And all of those agencies really need those funds right now to be able to continue providing services. So if they didn't have any property tax coming in, you know, the cities, the schools, the county, all these other agencies would be pretty strapped. So it's a tough situation for folks. I just wrote my check yesterday. It wasn't pretty, but it is something that we have to keep doing.
Our next question comes through email. Ms. Belding would like to know, is tennis playing allowed at a private tennis club using appropriate sanitary practices and keeping social distance?
So I would say no, but it's really so that ultimately the county is responsible for interpreting the county's health order. And they have a telephone line 211 that you can call for questions. But they really are trying to encourage social distancing. And if you are out at a private club and lots of people find you and start playing along, it creates problems. So my guess is they would say no, but that is really a question I think that's best directed to the county for interpretation. They are also on the smcgov.org website. When people call and ask a question, then they post the question, the answer on their website. They are constantly updating their frequently asked questions, so it's a good source of information. And it changes all the time. I went on today and saw lots of answers I hadn't seen before, so it's very useful information.
I think Anne has some more information, so I'm gonna unmute her. There we go.
Councilmember O'Brien?
Yeah, sorry. Councilmember, Vice Mayor O'Brien. Sorry.
Vice Mayor O'Brien.
I just wanted to add to that too. Actually, you can call directly to legal because they're focusing their answers to the specific order. So you can also call 650-363-4588 and they'll let you know whether it's exempt or not.
Thank you. I couldn't remember the number, so that's why I sent everybody to 211, but that's good.
Okay, our next question also comes from online. It's from Ms. Lang. She wants to know, a systematic city-sponsored check-in / check upon all residents. It could provide an ongoing assessment of basic needs that might not be known. Depending on resources, it could be done weekly. This could help identify people who might, for whatever reason, not be seeking or receiving help. Thank you for your work.
Mayor Beach, want to take that one?
I appreciate the comment. You know, I'm so grateful for Burlingame Neighborhood Network right now for the hard work over many years of kind of training neighborhoods and communities. I know that street by street, I hear constant conversations and updates from people. I know my neighbors got together and flyered, you know, our little block or two to check in on folks who might not, who might need some help, to check in on everybody for that matter. So right now, at this point, as we are new into this phase, I think we're really depending on neighbors checking on neighbors, people checking on people. And when they don't have that support system, there's faith communities, there's also the 211 line. There are great services at the county, and then they can always email council members. And we can try to connect people as well. We're looking at more, there's some opportunities we're looking into for people to be more organized about it within the city. The city manager mentioned that, but I think stand by for more information. Right now, we do really need people looking out for people, first and foremost, and it's happening. But let us know if it's not.
Okay, on chat, we're receiving a question. If I see teens from different households gathering, what should I do?
I'm going to ask our police chief to unmute himself for a second and help with that one.
Yes, so that would, you would want to call the police department at that point, and we will respond to any calls of that nature. You know, our direction has been to respond to all complaints about violations of the shelter-in-place order and educate the public about the order. So, and also if officers notice large groups gathering in our parks or other areas, they're directed to make contact with individuals and attempt to disperse them. So I would ask that you would call the police and we would respond and attempt to disperse them and educate them about the order.
Chief, can you give your non-emergency number? Because we don't want people calling 911 for that, right?
Right, 650-777-4100.
Thank you.
Our next question is also from chat. Mr. Keller would like to know, what would be the process to interrupt construction of housing and condos during the shelter in place? This can't be seen as essential in these times. Moreover, having 6 to 8 people come together from different parts of the county each day to work in close quarters, share diseases, and then return to their different locations seems quite likely to spread COVID-19.
So interestingly, the county health order, the health officer's order that he issued last week specifically exempts housing, for-profit, nonprofit, single family, multifamily. He did that because there's such a need for housing in this region that they thought it was really important to keep housing going on. It is a little, it's a little hard to understand because they're asking us all to social distance, but they have decided that there's certain things that are essential, just like grocery stores are essential, banks are essential, pharmacies are essential. They've decided that housing is really an essential need here in this region in all the 6 counties. And I believe the state also exempted it, but I didn't look at the state order very carefully. Looks like Kathleen might have something to weigh in on that.
Yeah, the state order actually exempts construction generally. So the county's order is narrower because it focuses more on essential businesses, which would be, you know, research and biotech related to clinical treatment of COVID, grocery stores and so on, and support infrastructure projects like public work projects, and then any housing. And as Lisa says, it doesn't have to be nonprofit housing, and it includes single family. And we've had clarification from the county on that. The governor's order is broader. It allows construction generally, or at least that's how it's being described. There's some ambiguity in the order. In order to shut down, to the original question, in order to shut down housing construction itself, cities can take a more aggressive stance than the county if we have separate justification for that. So for example, Menlo Park took a more aggressive stance on it, in part because they didn't have the ability from a city personnel perspective to do video inspections or any of the things that would allow construction to go forward safely. But it is a bit of a heavy lift for the city to contradict the county health officer, who is the expert on these questions. So we would have to have our own justification for why we would want to do that.
We have a live question coming from Mr. Unger. So I'm going to unmute you so that you can.
And I see Mr. Unger. Hello.
I've never done this before. I didn't realize I was going to go live. I was hoping
you're live. There you are.
You're doing great.
So we don't want to really be petting anybody's pets, nor do we want anyone's pets sort of coming up to us, I presume. And sometimes people are just walking with their leashes like really long. And is there any way we can encourage them to shorten their pet leashes? We used to experience that when we went to stores normally sometimes, but on the streets particularly. Anyhow, just asking about that.
You know, we can put out messaging and ask the police if they come across folks to, you know, keep a hold of your cute pooches. We all love them, but we all want to be able to be safe. It's going to kill me not to be able to pet every single dog I come across, but we take your point.
And also, there's already a 6-foot leash law in the county. It's just rarely invoked. So it's something that we can educate people on. It's a good idea.
Just educated me, Kathleen. Thank you.
Sorry. Okay. Our next question comes from email. Is there anyone at county level health that might visit a business that is allowed to be open but doesn't seem to be engaging in activities to increase social distancing?
I would actually encourage, if that's one of our businesses, then encourage that person to let our police department know so that our police department can go in and talk to the businesses. And I know Chief Matucci's officers have gone and visited a number of businesses and checked on reports of problems with social distancing. So if that's one of our businesses, call our police department. If it's a business in another community and you feel comfortable about it, call the police department non-emergency line in that community and let them know what you're observing. I don't believe county health is going out and doing those things right now. They're asking local police departments to do enforcement. If it's a, sorry, one more thing. If it's a jurisdiction covered by the sheriff, so there are a few cities in the county that don't have their own police departments, they contract with county sheriff. So in that case, you would call the county sheriff. So Millbrae, San Carlos, I believe Half Moon Bay, some of the unincorporated areas, but basically call the local police and they can help you with that.
Okay, our next question comes from email. Ms. Dunbar would like to know, why is it necessary to ban gardening services? Customers need to have no contact with gardeners who are working outside and can distance themselves from each other. And secondly, when the stay-at-home order is relaxed, at least to some extent, would it be possible for the library to offer a couple of senior-only hours each week?
So for the gardening and landscaping, the county actually has an FAQ on their website about this. They believe that gardening and landscaping are not essential activities, not essential services. They are really trying to lock down. So it's just essential business activities that keep going on right now. So gardening and landscaping, we all are gonna have to go pull our own weeds and watch our grass grow a little bit taller for the next however many weeks. That has been their determination to keep everybody where they need to be. In terms of the library, I did see that email come in earlier today. I forwarded it to our city librarian, Brad McCulley, so that he can figure out if that's something that we'll be able to do. We hate having our library closed. There's lots of people who, you know, we have ebooks. It's great if you can get an ebook, more power to you, but lots of people don't have that technology available to them. And so just as soon as we can figure out a way to be able to open our libraries again, we will do that. But right now it's going to be closed.
The next question is from email. They first want to thank us for having this and thank everyone who is working so hard at this really difficult time to keep our city going. She has a couple suggestions based on neighborhood feedback on the farmers market. Can we have a senior hour at the start of the market, just like some of our supermarkets have done? And is it possible to space out the vendors in the market a bit more to enable social distancing?
So I actually saw this email come in earlier and I forwarded it to Georgette Naylor, who is the president and CEO of the Burlingame SFO Chamber of Commerce. They are the ones who run the market. She is already working on ways to space out the vendors more to create more distance for people. In terms of the senior hour, I sent her that suggestion. I'm not sure if it's feasible for them, but I think it's something that she's going to take a look at and see if it's a way to do it. I think in a supermarket or a Walgreens or CVS, it's easier to control access in and out, I think, than it is when you're out at the farmer's market. And so it may just be that that is a difficult logistics problem for them.
This question comes from chat. It's from Mr. Foster. What's the proper protocol for delivery? Should delivery people be wearing gloves? Should the bags or boxes being delivered be considered contaminated?
From what I've seen, the various food delivery places are requiring their people to wear gloves. But I think anytime you're receiving anything, consider that it could be, so I'm not a public health person, I'm not a doctor, but I think we should consider that everything is potentially contaminated and we should take proper precautions. So when I get my mail every day, I open it, I put it in the recycling bin or wherever it needs to go, and I wash my hands. And I don't touch things until I've washed my hands for 20 seconds with soap and water. I think you should do the same thing if you're receiving grocery deliveries or food deliveries or Amazon packages or whatnot. Just assume the worst and you'll keep yourself a lot safer than if you assume everything is fine.
Lisa, I just want to, maybe we'll have the vice mayor chime in too. I know the county has set up some protocols for volunteers who are going to be helping do food delivery to people who need that. And so they've established some protocols. I think they are online. I don't know if they've got, and if the county health officer has also established protocols for all of us as well. But Vice Mayor, do you have any comments on that?
I don't know the protocol off the top of my head, but I do know that they were talking about when it comes to food deliveries, usually it's paid for ahead of time. And then so they can just go to the door, leave it there, and back away if they still need to talk to the customer, or they call ahead of time saying they're on their way, they drop off the food or whatever it is, and then they leave.
Okay, yeah, but
They
there'll be
really
more,
want to practice the social distancing.
right? I would, and what we're hearing from health professionals, if you talk to doctors in your neighborhood or anything, just use extra precaution whenever there's packaging, like city manager mentioned.
Right. If I could just make one comment to go back to the gardener issue. I got a suggestion from Councilmember Brownrigg. If you have the ability, gardeners and house cleaners, if you can continue to pay them, even if they're not coming to visit you, this is their livelihood. And so they are not able to earn any money right now. So if you have that ability, please keep paying your gardeners and your house cleaners if you have them. Next question.
Okay. This comes from chat. Glad that construction is allowed to continue, but what about are contractors able to obtain building permits and, more importantly, schedule building inspections?
So we do have on our website information about what's allowed and what isn't allowed, and how to schedule inspections. So we are doing a lot of stuff over email. We're accepting certain building permit applications. If you go on our website to burlingame.org, and then under the departments link, go to the building page, and we have all the information. We'll also put it out because we've allowed a little bit more just in the last day or so. So we'll put that out in our next e-news, but on burlingame.org, under departments, go into the building page, and you'll see exactly what you can and can't do for remodels and building single family homes and multifamily and all of that. And again, commercial off the table right now.
The other thing I'd like to add is that obviously we have limited employees available. We're doing some work through contractors, some work remotely, but the building department has to triage. So anything related to life safety issues and an urgent repair or something like that in order to keep a place habitable or to make it habitable, those go first. And things that are less urgent may get triaged in a way that they wouldn't normally. So we ask for the public's patience and understanding as we communicate those limits.
Pretty much everything that we're doing, we're on triage right now because we do have very limited staffing. So we are doing our best to respond to emails and calls and requests for service. And bear with us because we will get to you.
I'm just getting some general comments. One is that at the end of this, could we repeat the non-emergency numbers and URLs so that individuals that just joined could get them? A lot of people are interested in how to donate PPE. And
personal protective equipment. That's great.
Yeah. And then we've gotten a request that at our next town hall meeting, is there any chance that we could have a county health leader also dial in to answer questions?
So we did invite county health to participate tonight. They are in the thick of it right now, and they are not able to be here. We will, if we have another one of these, or when we have another one of these, we'll certainly make the ask again. Maybe things will have quieted a bit for them, but they are sort of going 24/7 right now. They weren't able to join us. So for PPEs, for personal protective equipment, the more the merrier. It's, I believe, SMC Med donation at smcgov.org, but we will put that out. It is on our website. It was in my last update to the council. I'm just gonna scroll really quickly. Maybe while I'm doing that, yeah, SMC Med donations with an S at the end, SMC Med donations at smcgov.org. And then Chief, if you wouldn't mind giving your non-emergency number again.
650-777-4100.
All right, Megan, what have you got?
Next one I have is about Call Primrose and what types of donations they're looking for. Are they looking for any food donations, or is it monetary that they're looking for?
I think they're always looking for monetary donations. I think that, I don't want to speak for them. I have not asked them that, and I don't know if any of our council members have asked that, but certainly money is always helpful for any nonprofit organization because they know that they can then purchase what they need, as opposed to having things they may not be able to use. So I don't know if any of our council members have more intel on that.
I would second that. I think they also have some protocols as far as what types of food and packaging and safety. So I think money is the best. Colleagues, do you have any other comments? I think that's probably.
I'm sorry. I just jumped on their website because I have so many screens going right now. It says they're not accepting donations of food or other items at this time. We do, however, need financial assistance. Please consider a monetary donation. We appreciate the support of our community and helping community members in need. So money, not goods right now.
Okay. Mr. Friedman wants us to know that his wife is on the call board and they are looking for monetary donations. And Ms. Turner echoed your point about Cal Primrose. I've also gotten quite a few websites for different volunteers. So I'm going to pass volunteer opportunities or delivery of face masks. I'm going to pass all those on to Niall Blackburn that does our e-newsletter so that she can go through those and add what can be added. And then we also, Congresswoman Spears having another virtual town hall tomorrow at 4:30, and the county health officer has participated in a few of those.
Great.
See any other questions at the moment? Oh, we got one. Well, this question we won't be answering online because it deals with HIPAA. Okay.
So there's some medical related questions that we can't talk about because there's patient privacy, which is what HIPAA is all about. So sorry.
Yes. We did just get another question. Can you address the safety and testing at SFO? I know that people have come in from international flights such as and into Seattle and were not tested. What about SFO?
I unfortunately don't have any information about SFO and what their testing procedures are. So I don't know if any of my council members have heard about that. We can try to get information. I know Councilmember Ortiz probably has the best line into the airport. I don't know if he knows about this, however. Do you want to unmute Councilmember Ortiz just in case?
Technologically challenged here, but no, I don't have any information. I could make a few calls to see if I can get something to report back.
That'd be great. So whatever we find out, if you could contact them and let us know, then we could put that information out on our website.
Perfect.
And that seems to be all the questions that I have.
All right, well, we'll give a last call to see if anybody has anything. If not, we can wrap up a little bit early. We had over 200 people, I think, or right around 200 people at any given time come in and ask questions. Your ideas have been tremendous. The community really is creative and working hard, and we appreciate you looking out for neighbors. And I hope you feel confident what an incredibly talented and competent staff we have that is really on the front lines coordinating in close coordination with the County of San Mateo, who again is really the lead agency in a situation like this where we've got a health emergency, social services needs. They are really organizing and they are doing a great job also, not only coordinating and communicating with our city staff, but with our electeds at all councils across the county. So Megan, we'll do a last call for questions. Does anybody have anything that they want to bring in either via Zoom conference live or emails or chat questions?
We're getting a lot of wonderful comments telling us that staff is doing a great job and thank you for hosting this virtual town hall. And then one individual would like to know if they live in a 12-unit townhouse development, and when gardeners do show up, what should they tell them?
So they should tell them that unfortunately, gardening is not allowed right now. It is prohibited by the county health order. If they don't feel comfortable doing that, they can call 777-4100, the police department's non-emergency line, and the police will send somebody out and hope that they get there in a timely fashion. Sometimes these folks are in and out pretty quick, but if the police can get there, then they will educate. And the police have written something, flyer kind of a thing that they are passing out to businesses and other folks to let them know what the rules are. And so please, let us know. I think hopefully these gardeners will hear about it pretty soon, but it is going to be a process to get everybody, rowing in the same direction with this county health order.
Okay. So Megan, if we don't have any other questions, I'd like to give my colleagues an opportunity to just say a closing remark or two. And why don't we go ahead and start with Councilmember Donna Colson, most recent former mayor. If we can unmute Donna, if she'd like the floor for a little bit.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mayor Beach. I just want to point out that while we are in the midst of working to flatten the curve of new cases, we are also looking for ways to help our residents and small businesses during the recovery. I'd like to put in another plug for the San Mateo County Strong Fund, which was launched today with $3 million of Measure K funds. As leads to the Chamber of Commerce, Councilmember Brownrigg and I are working to set up a meeting with Roseanne Faust at SAMCETA to try and develop a template for how cities can use this structure to support their residents and local businesses. Vice Mayor O'Brien has also been put on the task force to develop the protocol around disbursement of these funds. So we're really fortunate that Burlingame is going to be very proactive and involved in this. We are really, the whole council, and I speak for the mayor on down, I know we're all very excited to figure out ways that we can support our community. And if you are interested in helping, you can actually specify if you want funds to go just to the general fund to help out residents or to help out a small business. You can go on to the smcgov.org website, and they are taking cash donations starting today, and it is a 501c3 that will be administered by the Silicon Valley Community Foundation, so you will get a tax donation right off for that. And at this time, they don't have specifics, but we're all in this together, so I think you can feel confident that Burlingame will get some funding out of this, but we're here to help the whole county, and we're all in it together. So thank you.
Thank you, Donna. Councilmember Michael Brownrigg.
Thank you very much. Glad to see everybody here. I don't need to add much. I would just say that I was encouraged on Burlingame Avenue to see a sign in a storefront window that said we're closed for coronavirus, and above that somebody had stuck a piece of paper saying, and we are going to be there when you reopen. Love, your customers. A very nice touch, very Burlingame, I think. We do need to think about not just winning the war against the virus, but winning the peace. And so we are working hard to look at what the impact on the budget will be and how we protect services and the rest of it. And I just want everyone to know that we are focused on the here and now, but we're also thinking about how we keep the city strong in the short and medium term when there's going to be an inevitable downturn. So we're working hard, and very pleased with the way the town hall worked. It's going to be the way our city meetings work for the near term anyway. And thank you all for being here and for sharing.
Thank you, Michael. Councilmember Ricardo Ortiz.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say, just keep strong, Burlingame. These measures do work, and we are seeing it overseas. And so we just have to keep strong, and we know this will end. And when we get to the other side, we'll all sit together and have dinner somewhere and have a good time. So stay strong.
Thank you, Ricardo. And Vice Mayor Ann O'Brien-Keegren.
I would just like to thank everyone who asked questions this evening and had comments. We really appreciate it. I think this is just a time that we as a community really need to help each other out, whether that's individuals, families, small businesses that are struggling. I know we have a great team here that is working for the best of our community, and This may take some time before we get through this, but I hope that everyone is patient and also is gracious and kind with each other. This is a time that we really need to unite.
Yeah. I think those are great comments by colleagues. Before I close, I just want to make sure, are there any further questions from the community, Megan, that we should address?
No, that was it.
Okay, then I'll just close by thanking again everybody for the great ideas, for participating. We're delighted it was so well received. This was, I think we might be the first city that tried this kind of a virtual town hall. I think it worked pretty well, and hopefully this can grow, particularly as we need to stay connected in these times. I guess my big message is shelter in place. Please take it seriously. The more that we see the governor's actions, the more we learn from county health officials. I think we should brace ourselves for additional clarification from the county as far as what shelter in place means, but please take the order very seriously. Even if you may not be the most vulnerable person for this virus, each of our individual actions can impact other people as well, and we can spread this thing. And so we really do need to take the shelter in place order very, very seriously. Follow it as best you can. Remember, there are senior hours for some of our and vulnerable population hours in many of our grocery stores. I believe all the local ones, Lenardi's, Safeway, Molly Stone's, even Walgreens is doing a senior hour. There's information about that on the website. So not only should seniors and folks who are vulnerable to the virus should pay attention to those, but hopefully the community can also respect those hours as well. And I do love Councilmember Brownrigg's idea. Please, if you have people that you are employing for as long as you can help, employ those folks that are helping around your house, whether it's gardeners, house cleaners, or other people that you are employing as a business. All hands on deck. Kindness and patience is paramount. I think this community is doing a great job, as evidenced by this wonderful town hall. Thank you to our staff who's really been working 24/7, and we appreciate the community's patience. Sometimes we can't get your answers as quickly as we'd like, but we have a team of people that are keeping the city running and keeping the communication flowing, just doing a great job. So I hope you have confidence that you can reach out to us, and we are working on your behalf. Our council meetings will be happening virtually on Zoom. You are welcome to participate. And, you know, one of the silver linings is there's new ways that people can participate remotely. So our next meeting will be tomorrow night. Actually, we have an emergency COVID-19 update. I believe it's at 6 p.m., right, Megan?
Yeah, yes, our meeting's at 6 p.m. The agenda and staff report are all online. If you would like to comment on that one, please send in your comment ahead of time to the public comment at burlingame.org. It will be hosted on Zoom, and my hope is to eventually get this to also be streamed somehow live on YouTube or something of that nature, just so that we can get the word out as much as possible. So thank you everyone for your patience as we figure out this new technology.
Yeah. And I just, in closing, my favorite sign, Councilmember Brownrigg mentioned his favorite sign. My favorite one that I've seen around town was a banner that was clearly made by some kids at home, and it says, "Be kind, use soap." So it was an advertisement to just remember, wash our hands, keep that distance, and be kind to one another. And we will get through this. We are a very, very strong, resilient community. County's doing a great job. Thank you for your participation tonight. Lisa, do you have any other final comments?
No, I just encourage everybody to go to those web links that I gave you for information. Again, smcgov.org and burlingame.org are your best sources. And please, if you have the financial wherewithal and can contribute to the SMC Strong Fund, it's going to be a really a game changer for our county in helping people who are really suffering during this time. So thank you.
Absolutely. So thank you all for participating. Thank our health workers, our grocery workers, our pharmacy workers, and all the essential workers that are out there. Support our local businesses and support one another. Have a great evening. Thanks for joining us. Adjourned.